Welcome to another episode of Somebody's Opinion, and today we're going to take a look at the image quality of the X100F, comparing that with the older S model. Now, the Fuji cameras has always been about the image quality, and I'm just going to come out and just say up front that the image quality, if you haven't seen already from all the internet posts and the sample images that are already on the internet, on the X100F, it's fantastic. It has that Fuji look that we know and love from the previous X100 cameras. It's still there, it still looks fantastic, but the question here is it similar to the X100S, or is it better or worse or different or exactly the same? That's what we're going to find out today. Now let's start by taking a look at the resolution. Now with that brand new X-Trans 3 sensor, the resolution has been increased from the 16.3 megapixel of the X100, the first one, the S and the T, to now a 24.3 megapixel on this brand new X100F. That's fantastic. But the thing is, with a resolution boost, there is always, pretty much always, a trade-off, especially with the low light performance. But the thing is, with this camera, it does have a brand new sensor, so let's have a look and see what that low light performance looks like. Alrighty, so we have here an image of an old film camera. This is the Olympus OM1, and basically I took this image on both the X100F and the X100S on multiple ISO settings, from ISO 800 all the way to ISO 51200, just so we can see the low light performance in that spectrum. So all of these images are taken at f5.6 with adjustments in shutter speed to compensate for the difference in ISO settings. Alright, so let's take a look at the first set of images here. These are shot on ISO 800. So on the left is the X100F, on the right is the X100S. And you can see that both images look very good, very sharp. There's no grain or noise visible, which is to be expected on ISO 800. One thing that I am seeing, which is a little bit strange, is, as mentioned, both of these images are shot on f5.6, but it looks like that the focus or the depth of field is different on these images. The ASA dial here on the S is sharp. The focus was on the Olympus logo, but you can see that the shutter speed dial is sharp here. But on the F, it's blurry on the ASA dial and slightly blurry on the shutter speed dial as well, which is a little bit strange, seeing how they're both shot at f5.6. Alright, well, let's take a look at the next set of images. This is ISO 1600. Again, F on the left and S on the right. Both images look fantastic, very sharp, no visible noise or grain, and it seems like the depth of field fixed itself for some reason here on a different ISO setting. It seems to have fixed itself. On the next set of images here is 3200. The images here both still looks pretty good. You can kind of see some of the noise reduction kick in a little bit, especially in some areas like here. You can see that it's starting to appear, the noise reduction setting. It's kind of smearing some of the pixels here to make it, a little bit less grainy. But the image is still very usable. It looks fantastic. It's, it looks good and usable. 6400 is the next set of images here. So in this one, we can see quite a bit of noise on here. Both the F and the S is showing apparent noise that's showing up. The image is starting to break apart here in some areas. It's not quite as sharp as it was on the other ISO settings, but they do look pretty much the same comparing these two images. So seems like the low light performance is pretty similar. The next set of images is 12800. And the X100S is already on its high ISO range, so you can kind of see that on the S it does look a little bit worse than the F. Both of these images look terrible, but it is worse on the S compared to the F. But you can see that there is significant noise on both of these images. The next set is 25,600, and of course this is already maxed out on the X100S, and you can tell that it looks terrible on both of these images. More so on the S, but both these images are terrible, but I'm pretty sure you won't be using these anyways. And last but not least, the F does have the advantage of the ISO 51200, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to use this. Alright, up next I want to compare the sharpness between these two cameras. I am expecting them to be pretty much the same since it's using the same lens as the older X100 cameras, but let's just take a look. So first of all, I want to apologize for the exposure difference. I probably had the metering set differently on the S compared to the F. Let's first take a look at the f16 image, and again the X100F is on the left and the S is on the right. So both look tack sharp as expected. Switching over to f8, both looks very good as well. Switching over to f4, again, no complaints. Both images look fantastic and very sharp. Alright, now f2.8, we start to see significant softness on both cameras. The glowy effect is visible on the edge of little Mickey Mouse over here. And this is apparent on both cameras, so it's not one or the other. Now at f2.0, this is where it starts to get a little interesting because both of these images are incredibly soft, but surprisingly, for some reason, the X100S is slightly sharper than the X100F. Despite having the same lens, for some reason the X100S is slightly sharper. Now it could be because during manufacturing, you know, there is a little bit of difference in terms of how they put these cameras together and whatnot, but it's surprising to see that the S model is slightly sharper than the F. But again, both images are incredibly soft. Now I know this next thing has nothing to do with image quality, but just for fun and since I set all this stuff up anyways, let's take a look at the focus speed between these two cameras. This is not going to be a very scientific focus speed test, but you can see from this example here that the X100F is significantly faster in terms of focus speed compared to the S. Here we have the same example showing in a low light situation with the AF assist light turned on, and here we have it with the AF assist light turned off. Which one's faster? Well, you can be the judge. That pretty much does it for this video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share, and we'll have more videos coming your way very shortly, so stick around.